Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Two Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys our final review of Perpetual Chaos by Nervosa. So we've listened to this album all week long over and over and over, and I have to say this album is really, really good. Now, in our first impressions, I had a little bit of an issue of this album feeling a little repetitive. And it wasn't that bad, like at the time it really wasn't that much of an issue. I found a little bit of fatigue in it. However, as I've listened to this album over the week, I never really found myself thinking that way at all. I never found myself at a point where I'm like, oh, this all just kind of sounds the same. I kind of enjoyed the album the full way through, and I feel like that's when you know a thrash album is good. Because I find with thrash metal, a lot of the songs are kind of similar to a degree. But I think this band kind of stands out even among thrash metal standards, because there's a lot of songs that are kind of like really fast, in your face, whatever, maybe D beats here, etc. But I feel like a lot of the riffing style kind of pulls from black metal a little bit, and a good example of that is in Blood Eagle. I think it might be around the chorus. It has this riff that kind of sounds like something Behemoth would do, you know? So I really liked that a lot, and I found that sprinkled throughout this entire album. So that kind of makes me feel like, wow, you kind of have this blend of thrash and black metal, which is really, really cool. And I feel like the songs just overall, you know, they do kind of sound similar to a degree, but the riffs aren't the same kind of riffs every time. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's mixing it up, and the drums are really active. Lots of double kick, lots of crazy fills. Like, there's constant stuff in your face, which I guess is typical for thrash metal, but not as much on the fill side, you know?
Yeah, you make some good points there. The part you said about the riffing matching black metal or being pulled from black metal, I noticed that a couple times too, like in Perpetual Chaos, the title track. I got some Dimmu Borgir vibes from that song. As for the album sounding repetitive, or I don't know, thrash metal to me is a genre kind of like metalcore, where a genre kind of eats itself because it just kind of falls into this pocket and you get the same old stuff over and over again. Does this album do that? For me, it kind of did, but it wasn't in a way where I was going, this song sounds the same, this song sounds the same. I didn't get that feeling. But what I was lacking is the moments. The moments where I go, oh yeah, what's that? Oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? So as far as things like, you know, there was a part on this song or there was a part on that song that I could tell you guys about, I'm pretty dry on this review, unfortunately. Is it good though? Yes, this album is fucking awesome. Like, from beginning to end, this is a fun listen. This goes hard. It does what I want an album like this to do. But the memorable moments for me just weren't quite there.
I kind of had a similar experience. Like, I didn't really find many of those, you know, super duper standout moments, but I would put this, you know, album on and just overall be like, wow, I'm just enjoying everything I'm hearing. Like, there was no points where I felt disappointed with anything. It didn't have those moments, sure, but didn't really feel as much of an issue when the whole album is still super enjoyable to listen to.
I agree. So as far as some tracks that maybe stood out to me or whatever, I'll talk about a couple tracks. Blood Eagle is a standout track on this album because it's the most different. It has the, you know, the slow kind of weird sounding intro and all this stuff. And the whole song is just a different vibe. So credit to that. I mean, you need songs like that on the album, otherwise you really do get a problem where everything does kind of blend together too much. It's a little late on the album for a song like that. Midway probably would have been great, but it is what it is. You know, where it is, it's not bad.
I kind of thought about track listing a little bit throughout the week, and I honestly figure, like, the track listing's fine, like, in terms of placement.
Yeah.
It's fine, honestly, because of the way the album is and how it's kind of just all one enjoyable kind of force. You can put it on shuffle and it won't really make that much of a difference, in a good way, you know? Like, you can get the same experience no matter how you listen to the track.
Yeah. So my highest tracks though throughout the week were track number 2, Guided by Evil, which was, we did react to the video for that.
That was a sick song.
It was a single. So the riffs are just skull crushing on this song, and that's what keeps bringing me to it. I think it was a good single to pick for this album because definitely one of the top tracks. But one thing that we disagreed with last week, because it was, I think, one of your lowest rated songs, was Time to Fight. Time to Fight was my highest rated songs, and it's one of the songs, and every time it came on, it also stood out. It's got more energy, just something special about it. Don't quite know exactly what it is, but there's something special that makes me go, yes, this song stands out. This song is like special, and I enjoy it.
Now, that song, I know I said what I said last week, and I was paying close attention to that song to like wonder, okay, is my opinion gonna change? And it did. Now, this song is not like one of my super duper favorites of the album, but I think it's a really cool song. Like, it went from a song where I kind of felt fatigue when we first listened to, I think it's a solid song. It's, you know, it's really good, right? In terms of favorites, I like the title track, that's a good one. Guided by Evil, I feel the same way. That song is amazing. Was a great pick as a single. I still love Blood Eagle. I still love Genocidal Command. You know, Schmear did an amazing job with his feature on that song. Just, beautiful. And speaking of features, what are your thoughts on Rebel Soul after having listened to it for an entire week?
There's a nice dynamic that's added to that song because of the guest appearance, but honestly, as a whole track, it doesn't really do a lot for me. It's just kind of fits in its own little place on the album, does its own little thing, and then it's gone. But it's not a song that I want to go back to. It's not going to go on my playlist. Not bad.
But honestly, one of the things that really make it stand out is the guest vocals on it.
Obviously,
because I listen to that and I'm like, wow, I really like kind of how the voice is making this song go. It's another kind of, I guess, turn or dynamic.
Yeah.
But overall, like, it's just the kind of album that you just put on and it goes. And I feel like it works out not only, you know, if you just kind of want to put it on casual listening, or if you want to listen to it, I guess, more in depth. Like, it works in both of those senses. And I also feel like this would appeal to a lot of people too. I think if you're a fan of thrash metal, I think you'd enjoy this album.
Oh yeah.
I think if you're a fan of black metal, you might enjoy this album because of the, you know, elements of black metal riffs in here. But I also feel like general metal fans could put this album on and enjoy it. I think it's a very easy to digest for most metal listeners.
Yeah, even like death metal, if you go with like Obituary or Creator and stuff like that. Yeah, we talked a little bit about the drums, we talked a little bit about the guitars. We hardly ever talk about bass on this channel unless there's like a highlight or something like that, but bass doesn't get enough love.
It doesn't get enough. That no one focuses on
the vocals on this album though. Let's touch a little bit about that. So the vocal performance on this album is pretty damn good. And one thing that I noticed, and you noticed too, we actually talked about it a little bit before we started this recording, is you can definitely hear the accent come through on the words that she's screaming or growling.
Yeah.
And I think that's really unique. There's not a lot of times where you can actually hear the accent in the words. So yeah, I thought that was cool. That was like a really unique element to the songs, and I dig that quite a lot.
The most prominent example of that I saw was "People of the Abyss." When you listen to that chorus, it totally sounds like she's saying "People of the Obese." At least it sounded like that to me throughout the entire week. Not that I guess that's a problem. It's a cool, you know, it sounds cool the way that she's saying it, but I don't know. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, just like misheard lyrics. Sometimes you get some misheard lyrics are pretty funny. We're not going to go into that. Anyways, let's I guess we'll rate Perpetual Chaos.
All right, so Perpetual Chaos, like I said, is a very well-rounded album that I think can appeal to a lot of people. I think even without, you know, super duper standout moments on like tons of songs or whatever, you still have something super enjoyable, super strong. It's just a great album, you know, front to end. Gets my toe tag.
Cool. Yeah, I agree for the most part. This is definitely a super fun album. It's accessible for a lot of metalheads. It's got elements of death metal, black metal, thrash metal, heavy metal, which are basically the four main pillars of metal. But for me, it lacks a little bit of those special elements that is going to prevent me from giving it a toe tag, but it's definitely a fucking solid album. I can't really give it a bad score at all. So I'm tossing between my head right now of what to give it. I'm gonna give it a 7. If it had like 1 or 2 special moments, I might have done a 7.5, but it still wouldn't have probably been enough. It just lacks those moments for me, man. I can't give it a toe tag, unfortunately, but it's still really fucking good.
All right, a 7 from Vile and a toe tag from myself, guys. That's a pretty damn good rating for Perpetual Chaos. Remember to listen to the album if you haven't, because it's been out for a week. What are you doing? We love to hear your guys' thoughts, so tell us in the comments below, what do you think of this album? What do you think of our ratings? What do you guys think? Anyway, that's all we got for you today. Remember to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish,
And I'm Black Self.
and we'll see you guys later.